Okay, so we're back. Now you might be questioning where we are. Well, if you recognize it a little bit, this is actually the island where we started our Fire Faire festival event quest thing. It's Costa del Sol over there. And why are we here again? Well, there's another event, the Rising. So the Rising is effectively the anniversary of A Realm Reborn. And it's effectively just the thank you to the players kind of thing. Generally what it leads to. There are some cool events, like I really remember last year's one. So if you don't know, 1.0, so the very first version of this game flopped, and they rebooted it by a cataclysm known as the where Dalamud, one of the moons, dropped down, opened up, became Bahamut, Bahamut, rained hell and all that shit. Anyway, that was 5 years ago from the beginning of Realm Reborn, from memory. Yeah. So before that happened in 1.0, Dalamud was very prominent in the sky. So we've only got that moon, but it was a really prominent one. The weather was crazy. The song Answers, which was the title song, I guess, for Final Fantasy 14 1.0, and is in the opening cutscene for this, from memory. Still got fireworks. That would be playing throughout, like a very subdued version of it would be playing throughout the realms and all that stuff. If you watch the Fall and Rise series, that's actually prominently featured there. Anyway, so what they did was they had you go to Uldar. You go into this instance, and that instance brings you back to that point. So massive Dalamud, Answers playing throughout, very crazy weather. In Uldar, in the main thoroughfare, and you would be fighting monsters, basically. As a group of players fighting these monsters, you get tokens and stuff like that. Very cool, very atmospheric. However, this year it's not as cool, but still, they're going to keep their events going, even if they've just released a new expansion kind of thing. So, let's get started. Now, I haven't tried this on any character that hasn't finished Shadowbringers, so I don't know if you'll get access to a lot of the content that I have on my main character, which, I don't think you would, because a lot of it is just wouldn't make sense to a new player who hadn't experienced that yet. So I doubt they're going to do it, but we'll see what happens. Well, if it isn't the shining star who set so many hearts aflame with her high-flying feats at Moonfire Faire. Thanks in no small part to your contributions, we were able to close the curtain on this year's festivities in style. Though the revelry and rejoice may have ended, needless to say, there's still plenty of work left to be done. Speaking of which, would you be adverse to lending a fatigued festival attendant a helping hand? While we were favoured with spectacular crowds again this year, I fear that comes with an unfortunate after effect, which is to say this beautiful beach remains cluttered with unsightly amount of rubbish and refuse, much more so than I could ever have hoped to gather up on my own. While I realise this is a rather trivial task to impose upon an adventurer of your stature, would you be so kind as to help me tidy up a bit? It really would mean everything to me. Should you find any discarded items, simply return them here to me. I will sort through them and see that they are disposed of in a proper fashion. So yeah, this is a very, very, very simple event. You literally run over here, pick up some refuse, and then run back. I'm actually gonna grab this. You have to grab all of it. Now this is just the first one. The repeated one, you don't actually pick up 3. You only pick up a single thing, and then bring it back over. And it's pretty simple. Like you get 10 tokens for each, and I think it's there's 5 tokens were required for one poster, so you get 2 posters per run. Welcome back. I can already see that the beach is looking cleaner for your efforts. I would be happy to take any of the discarded items you picked up off your hands. Thank you, friend. We truly appreciate your efforts. After all, it just wouldn't do to launch a celebratory fireworks over a beach littered with jetsam and junk. Well now, what have we here? This appears to be an ordinary bottle, but this is a letter inside. How curious. Why, I do believe I'll take a closer look. Near to the land, heavens spew crimson, seep black dooms, stray seeds valiant. It's no use. The ink is smudged in so many places. Deciphering the letter in full is all but impossible. That said, all this talk of heaven spewing crimson and seeping black dooms isn't very pleasant, is it? Wait, I just had a thought. What if this message, a warning of sorts, intended to help us forestall an impending calamity? Perhaps I'm overthinking this, but better safe than sorry, wouldn't you say? Why, I've half a mind to take off immediately to investigate further myself. Sadly, I still have another half of a beach here to clean. Please, might you be so kind as to look into the letter on my behalf? My friend Bran in Limsa is a veteran reporter for a venerable Harbour Herald. Just happens to be an expert on cryptic poems and prophecies. I'm sure he'll be able to tell you something about it. I'm terribly sorry to burden you with yet another menial task like this, but the fate of the realm may very well be at stake, and wherever this leads, I promise to compensate you properly for your labours. Safe travels, friend. Okay, so back to Limsa. So you're basically the repeat of this quest as you go pick up a whole bunch, like there's 3 large, small and medium message in a bottle kind of thing, and you go pick one up. Return it back to her and she gives you 10 tokens. And the content I was talking about is that there are 5 messages, at least from what I've seen, like I experimented. 5 messages in each of the bottles, so a total of 15 messages. But it seems like each bottle has a message from each game. So there's one from A Realm Born, one from where am I going? Sorry, getting ahead of myself. One from A Realm Born, one from Heavensward, one from Shadowbringers, one from Stormblood, kind of thing. At least as far as I can see. So it wouldn't make sense for this character who's not completed, Heavensward, to get a message from Heavensward kind of thing. So, something I can do for you, stranger. If you've business with Bran, best state it quickly. This Gaz has a lead to follow and incidents to investigate. Oh, you listen to this. This is the events music kind of thing. Bibliano's wondering about this letter, you say? Well, you couldn't have come to a better place. Hand it over, my good woman, and let Bran see what he can glean for you. You'll actually recognize it, I think, as the class, like when you're creating a character. Did Bran know it, or did Bran know it? There's no mistaking these chocobo scratches. This is the quillmanship of none other than the roving minstrel of no small repute. As for the content of the letter, why, it's none other than the particularly portentous passage from the 7th verse of the Divine Chronicles, as writ by Messiah Thousand Eyes so many years ago. If you'd care to hear it, old Bran would be happy to perform a dramatic reading of the full words. Ne'er to land consumes sun can see bore moons. Heavens spew crimson flame. Hell to seep back black dooms. Stray seeds quicken in ashes grey embrace. valiant blades forged under the 12's good grace. Pretty ominous to say the least, no? But I wouldn't be worrying over much. Scholars posit, I don't know what that word is, that this was a prophecy foretelling the 7th Emerald Calamity, which, as we all know, came and has come and long gone, since gone, and thank the 12 for that. As for why our minstrelling friends saw fit to scribble this down, bottle it and toss it in the sea, well, why don't we saunter on over to Uldar and ask the good man himself? After all, what with it being the rising and all, it's as good an occasion as any to reflect upon the rebirth of our realm. Yeah, so this music plays during the beginning cutscene and during the character creator. And it's a long time ago, but from memory I think it actually played during the or a form of it played during like the main menu for A Realm Reborn. Those of you with the starter editions actually might know, because I think the starter edition just shows what the A Realm Reborn one was. Alright, so hold on. Enough rattling on. Oh, and if you haven't guessed already, this is probably going to be the episode. Because there is a bit of talking in it. So yeah. And when I was referring to the rising, it's this area here that you get into an instance. So it would instance like from here all the way up there kind of thing. It was really cool. Yeah. Well met, my friends. Might I interest you in a song? Oh, an interview with the Harbour Herald, you say? You do this humble minstrel a great honour. I would be happy to oblige, but be forewarned, there may be matters which I am not at liberty to divulge. But of course, anything and everything you will be willing to tell me and my colleague here. Old Bran would be nothing but appreciative. Well, my friends, I must say this brings me back as ways. I did indeed describe this letter many, many years ago, before the calamity described therein came to pass. With disaster looming nigh, I sojourned in a small farming village just a stone's throw from Bloodshore, near what is now Costa del Sol, though none called it by that name in those times. I spent night and day penning countless letters identical to this one. I placed each one in a bottle and cast them into the sea, in hopes of warning Eorzeans far and wide about the realm's impending doom. Many of my adventure acquaintances assisted me in the task. But to think one of those letters would find its way to you, after so many years. Yes, fate works in mysterious ways. Why yes, I do believe that my muse stirs within me. If you mind, indulge me for a moment. Greetings, Warrior of Light. You needn't be alarmed. This is a world that exists outside your reality. Could it be a dream? A flight of fancy conjured by your weary mind? Perhaps, or perhaps not. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Naoki Yoshida, and you have my most heartfelt thanks for gracing this world with your presence and your deeds of surpassing courage and valor. Oh, how the years have flown by since I crossed the rift to this world. I trust that your adventures here yet stir your heart and nourish your soul. We are still here, just as ever, scribing the events that will go down in history of this vast realm. A job, of course, that we could not do were it not for your extraordinary exploits. One might even say that just as you have embarked on your adventures, we have also been on an adventure of our own. Each adventure brings meetings and partings and countless trials that must be overcome. The task is never an easy one, but at journey's end, we emerge stronger, more enlightened, and closer to the individuals we want to be. For this reason and many more, this world we share with you is near and dear to our hearts, as nothing else could be. And so I will remain here, singing of your great deeds, those that have come to pass and those that are yet a dream, and together we will tell a tale that will live on long after we are gone. Now, the time has come for this vision to end, time for you to open your eyes from this waking dream. In truth, there are others who have messages they wish to share with you, but do not worry, we shall find a way. Ever will we be watching over you, guide the realm unto peace and happiness, hero of Eorzean, till next we meet. What a song. Why, that has to be the most mellifluous, moving composition that I've ever heard. You've outdone yourself this time, my minstrel and friend. Why, I'd best get back to the Herald and put pen to parchment before I go forgetting the words. Best seeing you, friend, and tell Pobbiano, let's go with that. The greatest Gaz in Limsa sends his regards. The calamity took much from us, but Eorzean rose from the rubble and ashes to stand as strong today as ever she has. Yeah. And to you, whose courage and devotion will see our realm to an even brighter tomorrow, I dedicate this song. O hero rebirth traversing, heal you this sacred land, our scarred land. Lay bare cloistered truths and tame the skies. Let azure guide your hand. O hero of rebirth traversing, break you the tyrant's bond. Embrace your sin and chase the light. To darkness a world will dawn. When the calamity raised this land, the Eorzean we once knew was lost to us forever. And yet the realm as it once was lives on to this day in the hearts of those who call it home. So it is that in this season of remembrance, my thoughts turn to those who are with us no more, and to the world that they left behind. For it is truly knowing and understanding our past that allows us to stride confidently toward our future. Yes, I just took a screenshot. make that the custom thumbnail. So to explain a bit of what just happened, so the different Scarlets, basically they were each of the classes that were prominent in one of the expansions or one of the versions of the game. So the bar or the archer that shows up, that was the main, that's what the main character was in cutscenes and so. That's what they depicted the player as in like trailers and stuff. Was the bard. He becomes a warrior for Realm Reborn. So the archer was 1.0. Warrior was Realm Reborn. The dragoon was Heavensward. Stormblood is both the samurai and the monk, and then the Dark Knight is for the Shadowbringers. And Naoki Yoshida was dressed up as Gunbreaker. The reason they did that is because he actually did that at one point, where he cosplayed as Gunbreaker when they unveiled the Gunbreaker as the next class kind of thing. Alright. Let's go back. No. Let's teleport to Limsa. Do it the cheap way. Oh, and another thing about last year's one, just for the sake of telling it, while we travel over there. So, what the players of 1.0 used to, or did, is they would get their Gobu mounts, and line up in front of Ul'dah, or the main gate of Ul'dah, and so they replicated that, during the event. So if you went to the main gate in Ul'dah, there was a group of just random Gobus standing there. It's pretty funny. And a really cool callback. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, there aren't many people doing it. Obviously, they're probably all done it. Like, it didn't take that long to get everything that you needed. So yeah. So running to there and back is effectively how it goes. Oh, there you are. I was wondering when you'd be back. Was Bran able to help you puzzle out the meaning of that ominous missive? A years-old message to warn people of the 7th Umbral Calamity, you say. Phew. And here I was worrying we were facing our impending doom all over again. At any rate, I owe you something for going above and beyond the call of duty for me today. This is not much. This might not be much, but please take it with my most sincere gratitude. So yeah, we get a Y'shtola mini, which is kind of cool. Speaking of which, it's the strangest thing. Ever since you left, we've had more and more of these bottles come floating in with the tide. I'm pleased to say that this time the words are not ominous in the least, and judging from the penmanship, it would seem that they come from a variety of senders. Yet, yes, messages in the bottle seem to be all the rage these days, which would be all well and good if I weren't stuck with the task of keeping these sands shiny and spotless. Which gives me an idea. If you're curious about what the contents of the letters, perhaps you'll be willing to help me pick up a few of them. I'll even throw in a token provided by the festival authorities for each bottle you bring me. What are the tokens good for, you ask? Why, they are exchanged for a veritable bounty of simply delightful seasonal goods with the rising vendor. Take my word for it. It'd be more than worth your while. So yeah. Let's grab them. Boom. After all you've already done, you're still willing to lend poor Pobbiano a helping hand. You truly are a saint. Or perhaps you're just curious to find out what all these letters say. I couldn't blame you for that. I am too. Anyhow, what with how many of them are washing in these days, I don't suppose they'll be too hard to find. Bring back to me what you found, and I'll open them right up. My nails are quite suited for the task, mind you, so you can read the message at your leisure. Okay, so you just run over here. I'll probably only do one. I was actually considering, adding all of the letters to the end of the episode, and then adding timestamps and stuff. And then I realized this character doesn't have all the expansions, and some of it will be spoilery, so I decided not to bother. I might still record them or whatever, but not release or do like a separate video or something. I don't know. The other bottles appear to have washed away with the tide. So, yeah. But that's also providing the fact that what I think will happen should happen, kind of thing, where, you know, you don't get access to the letters that aren't for something you haven't completed. We'll find out in a second. Is that a message in the bottle I see in your hands, or are you just happy to see me? Ha ha ha. Splendid. For doing your part to clean up the beach, I am more than happy to furnish you with spiffy, shiny, absolutely official raising token. You'll want to hold on to it and acquire even more if you can, so that you can exchange them for any of the wide array of exclusive festival goods and accessories available from our vendor. Boom. And that's it. But we're going to read the letter. So, in the meantime, why don't you take the letter and find a quiet spot around here to read it? I imagine that gazing up at the fireworks over the sea would do an excellent job of setting the scene. Whoever wrote this, and wherever they are, no doubt they want nothing more than for their words to reach an adventurer like you. Fledgling adventurer, I pray this message finds you well. Though your journey has just begun, I sense you will make a name for yourself. We must all start somewhere, as I once did, and though not every venture will lead to fame and glory, I have faith in you. Wherever your travels may lead, always remember this: you're not alone when you stumble. There are those who would catch you when you lose your way. There are those who would guide you back to your path. Perhaps someday you will be the one taking the lead, showing others how it's done. Until then, keep fighting the good fight, and may good fortune befall you. Yours, a fellow adventurer. Oh, okay. Maybe you don't get any letters, because I didn't read that one. But obviously, you know, my character's completed Stormblood, so the other character's completed Stormblood, so Shadowbringers, duh. So it's not a fledgling adventurer. There's actually time to do one more. We're just gonna try it, see what happens. We don't need to read it, it's exactly the same. Is that a message in a bottle I see in your hands, or are you just happy to see me? Doesn't get any funnier every time I hear it. You can just skip all that, grab the tokens. And you just talk to this rising vendor to spend the tokens. The mighty walls of Uldar were not built by one man. There were those that hewed the stones and those that polished them, those that carried them and those that stacked them one atop the other, until they reached the towering height you see today. And it's not just walls. Much of what you see in this world is in fact the sum total of blood, sweat and tears, of countless men and women whose names and faces you will never see. But there is one more who is essential to truly realizing the creation of these wonders, and that is you. Without you, all the effort of those nameless artisans would mean nothing at all. So speak in unison when we say thank you. Always remember that you are the reason we devote ourselves to our craft. With gratitude, the nameless artisans of Eorzean, aka the developers. I might just do the last one, the small one, see what happens. Yeah, we've already... This one. Might as well, in the next episode, we're going to go do Embrace the Beast. That'll give us, what is it? Inner Beast. which will open up the use for the beast gauge. How quickly the years have flown by since we first set up the message board on an unassuming street corner. Seeing the many and myriad words written there each day never fails to fill our heart with joy and gratitude. Perhaps most enjoyable of all to read are the announcements of various festivities organized by adventurers. Gatherings to fellow clansmen and adventurous journeys to far-flung lands, and all sorts of delightful events. We tip our cap to the passionate adventurers who pour their heart and soul into organizing these outings. One might liken them to a lodestone, drawing people in and bringing like minds together wherever they go. That's exactly what the website's called, the lodestone. But anyway, finally we would express our thanks to all of you who take time to keep diaries of your journeys. It is a pleasure and honor to both have the privilege of sharing in your adventures with best wishes, the keepers of the message boards. Yeah, so these are the direct thank you letters. Alright. So with that, we're going to call that an episode. As I said, next episode we're going to go Embracing the Beast. If we can continue on, we'll go with Wrath of the Titan. Now, forewarning, Wrath of the Titan is notoriously grindy. So, strap yourselves in for that. Anyway, with that, we'll catch you later, and see you next episode. Just a quick addendum, I completely forgot to show the vendor. So the vendor gives you posters or pictures for your housing, so you chuck them on the wall, and they're the patch art or the expansion art for Stormblood, and then a whole bunch of like season stuff, so fireworks and that crap. So anyway, again, catch you later. Hello friend, are you perchance enjoying the fireworks? You can be honest with me. After all, I'm just one of the humble artisans responsible for the show you saw today. To tell the truth, my colleagues and I are responsible for more than fireworks. Storms of pounding rain and bolts of lightning, auras that dazzle the sky, mystic lights and the glowing of crystals. The lights and mists that you see upon the stage are all crafted by our hands. Fireworks are fleeting thing, are they not? They dazzle the eye and move the heart, but in the next instance they turn to smoke, then fade and vanish without a trace. Think, just for a moment, of how it must feel to put one's heart and soul and hours of blood, sweat and tears into creating something that lasts but an instant. Please do not misunderstand, we say this not out of bitterness, but with honour and pride, for nothing gives us greater pleasure than to know that our humble efforts have, even in the smallest ways, helped your star shine all the brighter. And know that we will continue to pour all of our inspiration and imagination into illuminating your grand stage. Yours, in obscurity, a humble artisan.